Welcome back. Today we're going to look at the geometry of motion. I want to share with you a very simple, straightforward principle, but it's one that can have many implications in your martial arts techniques. Now that principle is an observation of motion, which tells us that all motion is composed of two parts. Now those two parts, of course, are both lines and circles. So there's both linear and circular movements within our techniques. This is something I'm sure you're already familiar with, but in trying to better understand our techniques and have greater command over motion, we should not just limit ourselves to understanding how linear and circular movements work independently of each other. We should move beyond that and try to understand how they can also work in conjunction with each other, because doing so will allow you to perform more continuous fluid techniques. So I have Moses here to help out, and we're going to illustrate a couple of examples. The first is a pretty basic, straightforward self-defense technique. He's going to throw a punch and I'm going to block. Now my initial move is going to be a hammer strike that's going to rake across the head. Now from here, I could, at the termination point of my initial move, which is a circular movement, I could draw back and then begin my next move, which is more linear in nature. Or we could let the termination point of one move become the beginning of the next. So where the circle ends in this case, the line begins, and then should we choose, where the line ends, the circle reappears. And you can see this is a very continuous, fluid series of strikes. And in this instance, it goes uninterrupted from my opponent. What if we had a striking sequence, for instance, where I throw one strike, in this case a linear move, that gets blocked by my opponent? Now, again, should we draw back, we could throw another follow-up strike, or if instead we utilize the principle that we're sharing with you today, where the line ends, the circle begins. And in fact, now, his block serves to catapult me into my next movement. So there's just a couple illustrations on how understanding how to integrate lines and circles together can serve you well. So here's a principle that simply allows you to understand how to describe motion, but the more you explore this principle within your training, the more capable you'll be of having greater command over motion. So that'll be it for this tip. I hope you guys enjoyed.